Starting with this, we're going to start here in Spain and then go to Greece and then to Oregon for this weekend plasma fire review. Starting out here, notice the tops of the palm trees are not burning. You can see the palm fronds at the tops of the palm trees that aren't burning. The lighting gets a little better here in a second, but they keep the camera down low. But on all of these palm trees, you can see that the palm fronds are just barely dipping down into the frame, and you can see that none of them are burning on top. Those palm fronds are far more flammable than the trunk of the tree, and it's happening like that because electricity comes up through the tree, burning it from the inside. We saw the same thing in Malibu. We'll recap some of that. But with that, let's just watch this quick video. It's only a couple minutes long. That's a fire NATO. We'll take a look at some of those here at the end also. Right there, you see the palm fronds lit up, center screen, not burning, because they aren't drawing the electricity the way the rest of these palm trees are. If that's fire that moves across the ground, standard typical fire as we know it, then those would be burning too. Blue Oyster Cult has an album titled Fire of Unknown Origin. That's what we're seeing here. It's both biblical proportions and biblical qualities, like holy fire.
Your window to India.
This one's only 2 minutes long, but it shows plasma fire taking out these olive groves. You can see the trees are burning from the inside.
Blackened soil and charred branches are all that remains of these olive trees, passed down through generations of a single family. The custodians of this scorched olive grove are brothers Panayotis and Nikos Kouzouras. Their loss is the result of a wildfire, which swept towards Patras, Greece's third largest city.
So you can see how the trunks of these trees,
Panayotis and Nikos.
you can see how the trunks of these trees are burned so badly that the tree fell down. You can see when you look right here, the tree is burned on the inside. The outer wood on the trunk of the tree is unburned. And all of the limbs, there are still leaves on these limbs that are unburned. This is clearly plasma fire. Anyone who's been studying this for a while can see that already.
The result of a wildfire, which swept towards Patras, Greece's third largest city, earlier this week. Drone footage filmed on Thursday showed the extent of the devastation. Its path through farmland and forests disrupted train and road traffic and forced the evacuation of thousands of people.
This tree right here, you can see the top of the tree is broken, fallen over down onto the ground, and the leaves are still on the limbs. That's another prime example of plasma fire doing what plasma fire does.
Train and road traffic. And forced the evacuation of thousands of people, halting just at the edge of one of the city's suburbs. Younger brother Nikos says his family was able to save their homes and their livestock, but couldn't protect their land.
This fire was phenomenal, unlike anything we had seen before. You couldn't tell where it was coming from. There were too many fronts. One moment we were seeing it on our right. The next it came to us from the left. One moment we were seeing it 1 kilometer away, and the next it was in front of our feet.
As the cleanup began, Panayotis rued a black day for the family.
This is not going to give anything.
I don't need to point it out, do I? This tree's still on fire inside, and he starts trying to throw some dust on it to try and put out what's still smoldering on the inside. It's just the same pattern repeating over and over and over.
Anymore. It is still burning. With this field of olive trees we were making a living. They are over 150 years old, and now they are destroyed, and there is no way anything can regrow here for decades.
3 people suspected of deliberately igniting wildfires near Patras were arrested. A senior police official on condition of anonymity.
Same old story. It's arson. Yeah, someone's doing it. It's the dudes.
3 people suspected of deliberately igniting wildfires near Patras were arrested. A senior police official told Reuters on condition of anonymity. And further wildfires are still blazing in other areas of the country. The European Union sent reinforcements to help Greece and Spain tackle fires, some of which are believed to have been set deliberately by arsonists. And
Notice the pattern here where there's an outline around the cars. The scorch on the ground is blacker in between the rows of cars, but each one of these rows of cars creates that line right there. Right here, it's darker on the right and less on the left. Like there's this weird outline created around the rows of cars. Because the cars draw the electricity. Fire doesn't burn that way. It's not discriminate. Not sure exactly how to describe what I'm seeing here, but it's another pattern of plasma fire. It has to do with the electricity drawing towards the vehicles, leaving that shadow line on the ground around the cars.
stoked by an extended heatwave gripping the region. The blazes have killed 3 firefighters, damaged homes and buildings, and razed swathes of farm and forest land, forcing the evacuation of thousands of people.
You're going to see that there's not any glass in any of these cars. The fire primarily focused around the cars. Notice over here there's a fine line. Fire on the left, no fire on the right. The cars draw the electricity. You'll also see unburned weeds right next to the burnt cars. Zero glass in... I'll just leave the volume down and we'll play. That way I can keep bloviating. Zero glass in any of these cars. They're going to show a close-up. Glass don't burn till like 2700 degrees. That's proof in and of itself. Nothing burned outside the area where the cars are. Here you can look for glass. You see any glass? No, you don't. Not a single piece of glass in any of the cars. All of it melted. It didn't shatter. It's not on the ground. It melted. And right here you're going to see unburned weeds right next to the burnt cars. Coming up here in just a second. No glass. All melted. Plasma fire for sure. Unburned weeds sticking up out of the unburned ground right next to the melted cars. Plasma fire for sure. Electricity-based fire. You can see the leaves fluttering in the wind. And everything just a few feet away from the cars didn't burn. It's almost like the cars acted like a conductor of the electricity, drawing that electricity towards them, melting the rims, melting the biggest pieces of metal. I'm surprised they still have their hoods. They have the rusted look from electrolysis, using the smoke as a medium of ion exchange. Instant rustification. Nothing. Right there where he's at, no fire on the ground. Weeds still sticking up, everything unburned. It only burned around the cars. The cars served as a conductor of the electricity, allowing that ground current electricity a place to release and come up out. The pattern on the ground, the burn pattern, how it differentiates from the cars, like the rows of cars create a shadow line on the ground. Here they're showing the houses that burned with unburned trees all around them. Some still even have their leaves on them to the right of the house. And then they're going to show the train tracks, serving as an antenna, conductor of the electricity. Nothing's burned around those train tracks. Just the, whatever they call those pieces of wood that they sit on. The train conductor, notice the unburned weeds sticking up to the right and to the left of that railroad tie. That square wooden block that the railroad, that the rails sit upon. There's unburned weeds to the left and to the right. This is a prime example of plasma fire, electricity-based fire. Whatever they call those pieces of wood that they sit on. The train track serves as the conductor of electricity, lighting up those pieces of wood they sit on. I forget what you call it. The burnt cars are over there to the left of his head. The unburnt area with all the unburnt leaves to the right of his head. Fine line between the burned and the unburned area. The fire didn't go out past the cars but a couple feet. Plasma fire for sure. So here we're just going to show you a couple spots of a video titled Plasma Powered Palm Trees in Malibu, Franklin Fire. I'll leave the link in the description. Can't really be going back over all the patterns every time we see a repetitive pattern. But this has two key elements. One, they're only burning at the top. And here in a second I'll show you a bunch of them that have the whole trunk of the palm tree burning. And we'll turn up the volume because it's key. This relates to the trees that we're going to show you in Oregon. They're only burning at the top and only on the inside. What you're seeing there. But notice here they're going to show us another example of the same thing where the palm tree is just burning right up there up top where the trunk meets the limbs. They'll show it again here in just a second up close. Where it's like a sparkler up there. How does the fire get clear up there without burning its way up to that point? The answer is it goes up through the middle in the form of electricity. And that covered in flame. Here we're going to be looking at the palm trees and how they're all burning from top to bottom, an evenly distributed layer of flames across the whole palm tree, and how they're all burning identically in the same way from top to bottom evenly. They're working like antenna. But notice how right about the palm fronds on the top of the tree are not burning, just the trunk, like we saw in the beginning of this video. And here's something happening in Oregon right now. They're trying.
Now we head to the southern coast of Oregon, where crews are working to put out a fire that's burning in one of the tallest trees in the world. Now, this tree is more than 450 years old, and it stands at over 325 feet tall. Now, to put that into perspective, this is amazing. The tree is actually taller than the Statue of Liberty. Let's bring in Megan Harper, the Public Information Officer with the Bureau of Land Management. Megan, great to see you. This tree is just massive. Can you walk us through what crews are doing right now to extinguish this fire? I mean, it sounds sort of obvious. I mean, why don't they just fly a helicopter over it to put it out?
Right? Yeah, no, it's hard to imagine what it's like to fight a fire in a single tree, especially when the fire is, 250 to 280 feet off the ground. Crews have successfully stopped the fire on the ground using hoses and sprinkler systems. Firefighters have been able to extinguish the fire at the very top of the tree using helicopter bucket drops of water. It's just what's proving a little bit of a challenge is that middle piece where there's some still bark, some interior portions of the tree that are showing some heat and smoke. And so we're actually got in contact with some arborists and some master tree climbers who are going to do their darndest to actually climb the tree and see if we can get some water in some of those hot spots.
Yeah, the footage is just fascinating because the fire is actually inside the tree. It's not like there's flames on the outside on the branches. It's inside the actual trunk. And we know it's been burning since Saturday. So what kind of damage have we seen so far?
The most amazing characteristics of these large old Douglas fir trees is they're incredibly sturdy. There's just so much wood material inside them that it would take a long time for a fire to burn completely through it. So what foresters have seen is some of that fire has been on the inside of the tree, along the bark, along the outside of the trunk. But the majority of the tree is actually structurally sound. And right now we're pretty confident that the tree will survive.
That's incredible. I want to get to that in a minute, but do we know what caused this fire? Are other trees at risk of this spreading?
Right. So no. So the fire is, of course, under investigation. It's something both our foresters and law enforcement and firefighters take a look at. They haven't determined a cause yet. But the great news is right now there's no danger to any other trees nearby or the rest of the forest. Like I said, there's a crew staffing this tree pretty much 24/7 and are able to quickly respond if any fire starts to show or is at risk of spreading again.
And as you mentioned before, you're pretty confident that when this fire is finally out, the tree is actually going to survive.
Yes, I think folks are slightly relieved and confident that the tree will still be standing. It might not be as tall, or we know it's not going to be quite as tall as it was. It may not be the record holder anymore, but it's looking like it'll still be a beautiful tree.
It'll survive. Will it continue to grow then, even after the fire is out?
You know, these trees, once they reach, an age like 450, they're not really growing so much anymore. They actually start a slow dying process where there's decay. And that's actually what is burning, is some of that decay, that rotten wood.
I see. So it's not going to regenerate necessarily and grow back where it once was, but it will survive.
No, not necessarily.
All right, Megan Hart.
New this morning, what's known as Oregon's tallest tree in Coos County is on fire and has been actively burning since Saturday. According to the Coos Forest Patrol, the historic Dorner fir stands at 325 feet. It's over 11 feet in diameter. The tree isn't just the tallest in Oregon, it's one of the tallest non-redwood trees in the world. Experts believe it's about 450 to 500 years old. The fire is burning at the top of the tree, working its way down the trunk. Helicopters have been dropping buckets of water on it, and crews have sprinklers placed at the base. Firefighters can't work directly beneath the tree because of the risk of fallout. An investigation into what exactly caused the fire is ongoing.
Okay, this one's all AI images and the voiceover, but it gives a couple of pertinent details in the audio, so listen to what it is they're saying about this.
Fire engulfs one of the world's tallest trees near the Oregon coast. Authorities in Oregon are working to extinguish a fire that broke out in one of the world's tallest trees near the state's southern coast. The tree, known as the Dorner fir, is a coastal Douglas fir that stands over 325 feet, 99 meters, tall and is estimated to be more than 450 years old. It has been burning since Saturday in Coos County, within Oregon's Coast Range. An infrared drone flight on Tuesday showed no active flames or smoke at the top of the tree, but detected heat inside a cavity in the trunk at about 280 feet high, according to Megan Harper, spokesperson for the Bureau of Land Management. Harper explained that reaching this cavity to put out the fire poses a major challenge. Several options are being considered, including building scaffolding or climbing nearby trees to gain a better angle for spraying water, or allowing the cavity to smolder while monitoring it in case it reignites. She confirmed that firefighting crews remain on site, with a helicopter on standby for water drops if needed. On Monday, the Coos Forest Protective Association reported that helicopter water drops had reduced fire activity near the tree's crown. Sprinklers have also been installed at the base, along with containment lines to prevent further spread. The fire could affect the tree's global height ranking. We've lost about 50 feet due to the flames and falling debris, Harper said. We're not sure where it will stand after this, but it remains a magnificent tree. Investigators have ruled out lightning as the cause, as weather data showed no electrical activity in the area. The exact cause of the fire is still under investigation. Harper noted that despite the damage, the tree is not currently at risk of burning completely. The tree is enormous, with so much mass that it would take a very long time for it to burn all the way through. Harper concluded by saying, "This tree carries great historical significance, and everyone here is doing everything possible to save it. It means a lot to people."
Thanks a lot.
So in that last segment, they told us about 50 feet has burned off the top of the tree, and that infrared thermal imaging can detect a hot spot about 200 feet up. The tree is about 350 feet tall, so that hot spot is right in the center. I've made videos showing before how these trees burn center mass. Also, they can't get to that hot spot in the middle. No matter how much water they dump on the top, it's not making its way to that center point in the tree where the hot spot is. It's burning literally from the very center of the tree. And I've spoken before about how I believe the largest trees conduct the electricity. That means it has the deepest tap root that goes deepest into the ground. Just like the tallest building in the area draws the lightning strike when it comes down from the sky, the tree with the deepest root goes the furthest down into the ground, draws the electricity that's coming up through the ground. And so the fact that this is the tallest tree falls in line with a pattern that I've identified before. The biggest trees, the electricity is also drawn toward that with the greatest mass, just like it melts the engine block in the transmission case on the cars. I've made the reference about putting a potato and a bread roll in the microwave. The potato conducts the electricity while the bread roll remains relatively unheated compared to the denser material of the potato. I even referenced this idea about how the tree gets blown out at center mass in this video, Plasma-Powered Palm Trees in Franklin. This is something I've noticed in previous videos that I've made where the tree gets blown out at center mass, right where the trunk of the tree branches off. And in this video, the truth will set nutball free, Plasmology 102. I'll include it linked in the description. I show about 15, 20, 30 different trees that are all burnt in the same pattern. You can see the limbs aren't burnt. It still has leaves on them. But at the center of the tree where it branches out, that's where it's all burnt out. Anyway, this is a pattern I've noticed and identified on multiple different videos. Center mass, right where the trunk of the tree branches out into the different branches, is where it seems to hollow it out and burn it from the inside. So that might be also what we're seeing with those palm trees, right where the trunk branches out. For some reason, that's where it's doing the burning. And this video here is there, this is a good one that shows you center mass. All the branches are broken down. Right there, center mass. Hollowed out inside. And this looks like it was a fire that happened a year or so before I actually filmed it. And that's why there's rabbit poop inside of the hollowed out tree, and Keebler elves have already moved in. Thank you to Jeff Bush, who sent me that short of the palm trees burning up top, and thank you to everyone else who's contributed to this library. Jeff Bush also sent me some of the videos that we've already watched today in this video, but some of you really need to start your own channels instead of sending me these things.